In this episode, I take a look at a relic from Dungeons & Dragons' past, and I grab another piece of Donald memorabilia from my collection, so stick around. Hello, and welcome to It Came From My Side of the Laundry Room. And like I said, in this week's episode, we're going to take a look at a piece of D&D history, and I'm going to take a look at a Donald Duck collectible in my collection. But first, let's look at the D&D relic of the past, if we will. I don't know how to categorize it, so
What's in the box? What's in the
long.
box?
Like I said, it's a little bit hard to categorize, so I hope that kind of sums it up for you. But I need to give a little bit of backstory. The town I grew up in was very much a Main Street, USA type of town. And down on Main Street, they had a very large hobby shop called Bobby's Hobby Lobby. A great place. I would love one day to just do a whole episode about the memories that I have about that place. But when I first started getting into D&D, this was the place that I found most of my first edition books at, and an awesome magazine called Dragon Magazine. For those of you that aren't aware of Dragon Magazine, it was a great monthly publication that had new rules, changed rules, had great write-ups on other role-playing games within the TSR universe. But one of the best things about it, well, it was all great, but one of the coolest things about it was in the back of every issue, they had comics. And one of the long-running comics of them was a comic called Snarf Quest. Now, I know, Snarf. Different Snarf, this one came first. But this is a collected of the comic. Now, in Dragon Magazine, it appeared as a 2, maybe 3-page comic. And each one was a, continuous story. But you only got it in monthly chunks. 2-page, 3-page chunks. Now, fast forward to 87, 88, our mall, which was still fairly new at the time, got a dollar store. Now, the mall was built in, I was in 5th grade, so 86-ish. But the dollar store came a little bit later. And I remember, word spread like wildfire to how awesome the dollar store was. And it kind of wasn't like the dollar store of today. It had old toys and housewares and books and stuff that were top notch. Just couldn't sell at a local department store, so it just would go there. And not like today where it's just, they still do have some of that kind of stuff, but it's not just the generic nameless toys and stuff of today. And knockoffs, really weird knockoffs. But this was there. Like for their grand opening, they had this, I believe, a Thieves' World graphic novel, which was adaptation done by Tim Sale. They had some of the Dragonlance collected comics that I think DC did. But this was what I came for. Now, what Snarf Quest is, it's by Larry Elmore, who is a world-renowned famous D&D artist. Probably the thing that got me to be a super fan of his was his Dragonlance covers, the 3 original books. But he did great fantasy artwork, and he still does. But he created Snarf Quest, which was a comic. and it stars our hero, Snarf, who is a non-D&D race called a, excuse me for not remembering, a Zetva. And find a good picture here. You can see long snout, long ears. But what's great about this, I mean, it has some D&D-esque type monsters in it, like an orc type of dude there. But what made this great was it was done in that time when fantasy didn't need to have a wall around it. It was whatever went into the artist's mind, went on the paper, didn't need to have rules. You made the rules as you went along. And first edition D&D was very much like that. Here's one of the other characters who is a prince. Where is he? Sorry, I'm getting... There he is. A prince that got turned into a humanoid rat with a patch over his eye. His name... Sorry, I'm forgetting this. But Prince Raifendorf. But anyway, the one thing that set this comic apart, well, let's say, appearance by the cat, apart from today's D&D, which was something that was very prevalent in first edition, was the inclusion of technology, aliens, and just otherworldly things. Find a good picture here. Sorry, bear with me. Well, I guess the cover's the best. But this is AVR. And he is an alien robot that everyone is kind of convinced that he's a wizard. Because popping out of his arm and stuff, he can blast lasers and he's super tough and has robotic characteristics. Super great character. Jumped feet first into adventuring with Snarf. But here, they have a revolver. And that's because the evil wizard in this story time travels. But the main lady in it is Tellery, and formidable hero, jumps in to save the day a lot of times. Here's AVR with his mask up, showing somebody, because he saved this lady, and she's like, oh, lift up your mask so I can get a kiss. And as you can see, it scares her. Oh, here's a great Conan piece with Snarf. But this definitely is a relic from D&D's past that really isn't talked about anymore. The type of scenario I think people would find weird nowadays, but in 1983, when the original strip started, it was commonplace. I mean, there were a lot of famous campaigns and modules that were about spaceships and finding lasers and robots and aliens, because D&D was just fantasy. Yes, it had its feet in medieval fantasy, but they had no holds barred to where it went from there. And it was great. It was a great time to start gaming and to have a foundation in that. Of course, with second edition, they went into Spelljammer, which is their space, well, medieval space opera, if you will. But it just didn't have the same, excuse me for using this term, but punk rock originality that first edition had. But this was a great comic, great art, funny, adventurous. Had a hero you could get behind. And just great background and supporting characters. A D&D world where it wasn't beholden to D&D. They created enough critters and races of their own in this. And in the back of this, we got this cool pin up here. And first edition stats for all the characters. Which I think nowadays people would look at this and not even know how to interpret it to D&D standards. Here's another pin-up of AVR. Becoming, you know, where he's the hero and Snarf's all mad in the background. And they had this color comic follow-up that takes place 5 years into the future of either this or just the strip itself. Because even after this, the strip continued. I think. I'll have to look into that. I'd have to look to see if they have any more collecteds of this, maybe on Larry Elmore's website. But this was a huge, huge chunk of my childhood right here. At the time, this came out in 1987, but the strip itself that's in here ran from 83 to 86. Like I said, it was only 2-page, maybe 3-page if you're lucky, little chunks in the back of the Dragon magazine. So, it took, 3 years to do this. Oh man, just looking at it takes me back. Anyway, I want to keep looking at this, and while I do that, take a look at this commercial.
Take a good look, it's the Cobra Pogo.
Joe's got trouble. He's got his bag. Pogo's got a puzzle and it's up in hand.
Pogo's loaded for action.
It's the new Cobra Commander, Cobra!
But Joe's coming back with the G.I. Joe Slam.
On the run for a gun. G.I. Joe Slam.
It's out back in Graceland.
It's got a 4-cannon gun that can swivel to face the enemy.
G.I. Joe, American hero.
Live the adventure of G.I. Joe. Cobra Pogo, G.I. Joe Slam, and figures sold separately.
Joe, Joe.
I hope that commercial took you down memory lane, but now, let's get collectibleistic. In this week's collectibleistic, like I said, we're going to take a look at a Donald Duck piece that I have in my collection. It's still in the box, and I still have it sealed up, but let's take a look at it. I might not take all of the protection off of it, but we'll at least get a good look at it. But Donald Duck, great logo there. One musical porcelain Donald Duck doll. You open it up. And this was originally sold by the Disney store, but I found this at an antique store mid-2000s, I guess. But it's Donald as he appeared in the Prince and the Pauper short. I'm forgetting now what movie that short was attached to at the time. I'll have to look it up. But, like I said, let's take some of this protective stuff off of them so I can pull them out here. And it being musical, it has this awesome Mickey Mouse key. Let's see if I can use it without taking it off of that. Of course, I paid way too much money at the time, and for many years I never even saw this listed anywhere. Recently I've seen it pop up on eBay now and again, fluctuating in price from pretty reasonable, where I've thought about buying an extra one, to downright insane. But great stitched outfit. Great expression there. Real feather in his cap. A little bit of aging here on the bill. And that's probably because I used to display it with the box open. Unfortunately, it was in a curio cabinet, which I thought it would be protected, but with people smoking in my house at that time, it seemed like I might be able to take this off. Another day. I'm not going to play with that right now. But the porcelain bits are his head, his hands, and his nice feet there. Oh my. We definitely have to get this fired up to what song it says it plays. Key goes here in his back. Somehow. Oh, there we go. On. Can you hear this, folks? There's a smile on my face, that's for sure. Seems like you have to leave the key in it once it starts playing. Hopefully I can take it out to put them back in the box. That's just awesome. Now, I'm surprised it doesn't play a tune from the Prince and the Pauper movie. Which, here's a picture of Donald from the movie. See if it has any information here. This is not a toy. Good information. Donald Duck plays the tune DuckTales. I wonder if they had any other of the characters of the movie done like this. I know Goofy and Mickey were in it, of course. But that would be interesting to see if they did have any and what songs they played. But like I said, even finding a paper trail for this dude online was very hard. And it wasn't until recently that I saw it even pop up on eBay. And like I said, that goes either way with price. Anyway, did it stop? Does it come out? Oh no. Oh, stymied. Doesn't want to come out now. Oh well. Maybe he doesn't need to be in his box anymore. If that's the case. I'll put him in my Donald curio cabinet that I now have in a nice, clean, smoke-free house. Does it unscrew out? Yes, it unscrews out. Eureka! So, this is the cool key. Has a little music note on it. Nice gold buttons there and all. But anyway, thanks for taking a look at another piece of Donald memorabilia that I have. And until next time, this has been It Came From My Side Laundry Room. Thanks, Donald. So keep being rad, stay dorky. See you next time. Thank you for watching this episode presented by My Side of the Laundry Room. Please check out some of these other recommended videos, and if you enjoyed what you've watched, please hit the subscribe button. You can also follow on Twitter, like on Facebook, and read up on My Side of the Laundry Room at our blog. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep being rad and stay dorky.